This is Skyblock, and over the course of 100 days in Minecraft Hardcore, I will attempt to transform this lump of dirt into a floating oasis. Let's begin. I started off the first day in your typical fashion, making the most useful machine on the island, which is the cobblestone generator.
Oh my god!
Luckily, I was able to get it on my first try without any hiccups. And from then on, I expanded my island a little bit just so that when I break the logs for my tree, none of the saplings would fall into the void. If that happens, that's a big problem. And as always, I crafted a wooden pickaxe to use it only for 3 cobblestone and then exchange it for a stone one right away. I really didn't want any saplings to fall into the void, so after I gathered a little bit more cobblestone, I used it to form a small platform where the saplings could fall instead of the void. Now that I knew it was safe, I mined the remaining logs on the tree.
Yes, okay, we got 1. If I can get 2, I'll be set. Yes, we're chilling.
Once I was able to gather even more cobblestone, I expanded the platform, but this time from underneath, making sure that I wouldn't lose any dirt blocks, and also moving my cobblestone generator to a more useful spot. If you've ever watched a Skyblock video before, alright, let's make a circle. You know that circles are the way to go, and sometimes you gotta pause to make sure you're doing it right. Once a decent section of the platform was made, I spent the rest of day 2 mining for more cobblestone. And really, in all honesty, day 3 was pretty much no different. If I'm gonna expand the island, I'm gonna need a lot of cobblestone. And so for all of night 3, I just spent it mining. I only stopped once all my pickaxes broke and it was time to chop down some of my trees. And nearing the sunrise of day 4, I expanded my platform a little bit more, but this time on a higher level. This is where I wanted my mob farm and my nether portal. However, being that I am such a dingus, the platform was built on a level where nothing could spawn. I can't place torches, and instead of breaking it all down, I just filled it with another layer of slabs. Oh my, I just nearly fell down. On day 5, I clocked in for work on the mines once again, and this time made sure I had a few stacks of cobblestone, because my next step was going to the sand island near my island. I want to see what kind of loot they got there.
Nice.
The loot was pretty good, but I was really here for the obsidian blocks and the watermelon seeds. The watermelon is what I was really looking forward to because now I had a sustainable food source. So when I got back to the main island, I created a small farm and planted the first watermelon seed.
Dude, I'm a freaking genius if this works.
You done messed up, Aaron!
Now I'll have food, so it shouldn't be a problem.
The next step was making the portal frame. And don't be an idiot like me when you're lighting it.
Oh wait, I'm a freaking dumbass.
You see, instead of just taking a bucket of lava and putting it near the portal, I tried building wood slabs from the generator to the portal. Just listen to how dumb that sounds. Oh my gosh. Calm down. This isn't you.
No. Okay, we're good.
After that sequence of dumb events, I left the nether to be greeted by a phantom, quickly took care of him, and started working on the mob farm.
Now I got infinite water pool.
For that, I would need a lot more cobblestone, and so for the remainder of day 6, I spent it mining cobblestone and building the first few pillars for the mob grinder. Oh, and I also added a perimeter of wooden slabs on the main island. On day 7, I placed some ladders that would make it easier to go up and down on the mob grinder, and just started placing a bunch of blocks. This is a pretty simple build, it's nothing special. It leaves a small platform for mobs to spawn on, and water that trickles down, sending them down the chute. One thing that's annoying about Skyblock is that no matter how many times you think you have enough materials, trust me, you never do. After mining for a ton more blocks, I spent the entirety of day 8 filling out the platform and then building the walls on the sides. Being up there also gave me time to place water in all of the compartments. This is where the mobs would mistakenly step into and go down the chute. I was up there for the majority of day 8. A little bit of day 9 I spent mining, because of course I ran out of materials. But once it was fully done, once I placed every block, all the water, took out the torches, the mob farm worked wonders. The mob spawner is an essential part of any Skyblock world, no matter what you're trying to do. It gives you so many good materials, such as string, bone. That's pretty much it. I can't really think of anything else. All you really need from a mob spawner is bone, so that you can craft it into bone meal, start planting trees, making them grow faster, and start planting some more wheat as an extra food source. Getting strings, I was finally able to go to sleep. Sleepless nights cause phantoms to appear, and those things get pretty darn annoying. So this bed was very necessary. It also makes it much easier to count the days for Skyblock. On day 11, I started to work on a gold farm, and I took inspiration from Dr. Trog's farm. That's when I remembered that I had another farm in the overworld that needed taking care of. My wheat farm. Back to making gold. Once one side of the farm was completed, it was now time to call in the zombie pigmen by shooting them and see how the farm works. To my surprise, it worked flawlessly. Fortunately for me, there was a piglin that was just eager to have me trade with him, so I did the only thing that I thought was right, put him in a boat, and now I would just infinitely trade with him.
Oh, let's freaking go. Oh, let's freaking go.
By the time I emerged from the Nether, it was now the early morning of day 14, and with all the trades I was able to make with the piglin, I used the gravel that he gave me and turned it into coarse dirt. And then this coarse dirt, I turned into regular dirt, increasing my supply exponentially. Since I spent basically 3 days in the Nether, 11, 12, and 13, I was sort of running low on supplies, and so to fix that I chopped down some more wood, and of course hopped on the cobblestone generator. On day 15, I still spent it mining cobblestone, however this time instead of making a small circle, I was aiming to make a giant platform. However, once again I ran out of blocks and ran back to the mining station. And really this was the entire story of day 16, 17, and pretty much 18. I would spend it mining, placing slabs, until eventually at the end of day 18 I finished and even made a perimeter of wood slabs. The reason that I made the platform so big is because I would be using this very often. This is the platform I wanted my tree farm to be on, as well as build a nice house here. The tree farm needed a lot of space if I was going to make it useful and sustainable, and this giant platform is perfect for that.
Let's go. Finally.
Once all of the dirt blocks were placed, on the outside I wanted to put the oak saplings, and the dirt pieces on the inside I wanted to put birch. I think this gave it a nice little touch of color and a little bit of variation for the island. Literally all of day 20 I spent in the mines, working hard, gathering a bunch of cobblestone, when suddenly I was attacked amidst my work hour.
The hell kind of cut is that, G?
I like it cut, G.
I started day 21 off by chopping down a few trees, putting my new tree farm to work, and from then on, I wanted to expand my gold farm in the Nether, so I did that. It took a minute, but I was finally finished. And same thing with the other side, I shot a zombie pigman, and now I had double the loot. I came out of the Nether just for a minute to gather some more materials from my tree farm. But eventually I had to go back in and kill some more zombie pigmen. I then traded with the piglin and was able to get some more gravel, which of course I used to make some more dirt. After gathering some more dirt, I was once again attacked by another zombie. And what you're about to see is the worst aim in history. I'm sorry. Oh my. Damn. I was considering deleting the game after that, but thankfully I didn't, because on day 23, we started off by gathering more materials. I'm joking, but not really. What I'm really excited for is the witch that spawned. With the witch, I'll be able to transform a zombie villager into a regular villager and get a ton of cool items from them. However, now it's just a waiting game. I have to sit here and wait until a zombie villager spawns for him to actually be transformed.
Let's go. Let's go.
I don't know what my luck is, but one spawned pretty dang fast. Using the old surround him in a bunch of cobblestone method, I was able to trap the zombie villager in a safe spot, but not too far from the witch. Because you see, the witch, she throws potions of weakness. Using that, if I'm able to get in a position where she hits both me and the zombie villager, I can then feed the zombie villager a golden apple and he will transform into a regular villager. The benefit of this is that I get a villager, but also the trades are going to be much cheaper. Now, if you know anything about Minecraft, you can see that the villager that I got is a nitwit. They can't trade anything for crap. They do nothing. They are some lazy sons of guns. But I can still use him, and I almost died there, but I can use him to breed with another villager. So my hope is that the next villager that I get will be a regular one.
Yeah, buddy!
That is at least one villager down. And as I waited for him to transform, I just mined some cobblestone. As soon as he did, I built him a little shelter that he could enjoy for now and let him be. My next step was getting another villager, but this would be easier said than done. As I said, I got super lucky with the first one. Because since the first villager, I haven't stopped trying to get one, and it took 3 days for me to get another one. At the end of day 28, I saw the little feet of a villager. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Okay, and he's a good villager too. Let's freaking go. I was pretty ecstatic, but now I had another problem. Just wait for a witch. Just wait for a witch. I had no more witch. So really all I could do was just mine, occasionally check up on the witch or lack thereof, mine again, check up, and just do random stuff around the island. I even expanded to another section. My plan is that this would be the villager area, where I'd make all my trades and have the villagers just hanging out here. I started off day 31 by mining for some cobblestone, but when I realized that there was still no witch, I decided to take my ventures into the Nether to trade with some piglins.
Nice.
And when I finally got out, I took the coarse dirt and turned it into regular dirt, at the end of which I had a stack of 64 and a small stack of 18. Going back to the measly pile of dirt I had from the start, this is a big improvement. I was really frustrated by day 33 that there was still no witch, and I wasn't the only one. I know what you mean, my guy. I know what you mean. Unfortunately, it's just a waiting game at this point. There's not much I can do. So in the meantime, as I waited, I finally started working on the villager area. You know, the housing where they'll be actually staying at. Come on. Witch. 3, 2, 1. Now. Of course it didn't work, but imagine if it did. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Since that didn't work, I just spent the rest of day 34 mining, and I went to bed. On day 35, however, the unbelievable happened. Let's go! Okay, we did it. Holy guacamole. The guacamole is holy. No. Oh my gosh, I almost hit him. We wait till we get to 4 hearts. Bro, quit poisoning, holy crap. Just throw a freaking weakness already. Oh my gosh. Throw it. Dude, weakness. Yes! I didn't show this with the first villager because it took forever, but I later figured out that you need to have 4 hearts in order for the witch to throw weakness at you, or you already have to have poison damage on you. Otherwise, she'll just keep throwing weakness, or maybe even try to kill you with another one of her potions that does damage. I don't want none of that. You feel me? Anyways, I gave the villagers some bread from my wheat farm.
You want some bread?
And hit the hay. I don't think I gave them enough, so on day 37, I threw a crap load at them. They did it! Oh, yes, and it's a good one. And eventually, we got our first baby villager. As I waited for the baby villager to grow up, it was time to do some chores around the island. My first stop was the Nether once again, because I was going to get some more trades in with my piglin. I was really looking to get some gravel for dirt and flint. There you go. After that was all said and done, I started working on a wheat farm near the villager base. For a majority of the time on this island so far, most of my wheat came from that small little 6-block area near my cobblestone generator. I didn't have a proper farm. And since I had that farm, more and more villagers started to appear in the little bunker I built them. I put a bunch of beds in there so that they could actually sleep, and just kept throwing bread in there once in a while. said more and more villagers started to appear, but really I'm looking for the future. What I meant was they were gonna appear. And they had no choice. They will appear. But for this to happen, I had to keep tabs on the wheat farm and actually start building tables for each of the villagers. I would start off with a smithing table, a fletching table, and then the rest would follow from there. Those are the two main I was looking for. For some reason, when I put the tables here first, the villagers didn't accept it yet. After some persuasion, one of them finally said yes, and he was now a villager that was worthy to be traded with. This also gave me the opportunity to kill the iron golem that appeared. And this would actually be one of my main sources of iron in the future, but I just didn't know it yet. On day 40 I started to trade with the villager, but he had the most atrocious trades, so I did what I had to do. It took all day to get myself another villager in that same spot, but eventually I got a Fletcher there, put him in, made sure he was safe, and then went to sleep eating some watermelon. Because nothing beats eating watermelon after you force a villager into a small compartment. Anyway, on day 41 I started off by chopping down some trees. After that was all said and done, it was now all about maintaining my good trades with the villagers. So I would have to keep feeding them bread, making new villagers, making new tables. You get the gist. In all honesty, it was pretty satisfying, because there's not much to worry about when all you're doing is farming. After you've been on the island for more than 25 days, things get pretty lonely, so having an extra pair of hands to help out is pretty nice. And finally, on day 42, I got myself another villager. The Fletcher I would keep on the side to trade sticks with for emeralds, but this neighboring villager I wanted to use as my toolsmith. Because on the island, all you're doing is mining for cobblestone, mining for wood, doing random chores, and so I don't always have to worry about making cobblestone tools. If I can upgrade this toolsmith to maximum capacity, I might be able to get some really good trades. So upgrading him is my first priority, and it's gonna be really worth it, I hope. Unfortunately, as he's starting out, he does have some pretty bad trades. Cobblestone axe, a cobblestone pickaxe. It's stuff that I really don't need, but I really need to upgrade him, so might as well waste all my emeralds on this guy. And after acquiring a bunch of pickaxes from him, I first started chopping logs, and then just spent the entire day getting rid of all of these cobblestone pickaxes. Get them out of here. It's funny, as you get richer, you first start off with a wooden pickaxe, get that out of here. Then you get a stone, get that out of here. That's just how life is, and Minecraft Skyblock is no different. Day 44 had pretty much the same regiment. I really want to get those better tools, so I once again spent it trading, but this time I decided that I would take my ventures to the Nether for the latter part of the day. Not only can I get good tools from the villagers, but I can get some pretty cool trades with the piglin, as we've seen before. So trying to balance both of them is what I'm trying to do at this point. Day 44 gave me some really good progress from the Nether. One of my main sources of income on the island so far was the fletching villager. Just using a few sticks, I was able to acquire a bunch of emeralds. So naturally, my thought was, why don't I just get another one? So the Nether run that I had, I was really trying to get gravel so I can make flint and turn that into a fletching table for one of my villagers. Since he was the new kid on the block, I wasted no time in gathering some more wood, turning that into planks, sticks, and then selling it to him for a low price. And finally, on day 46, that is when I started working on my main base. This giant platform that I had built earlier, I mentioned that I wanted it for something special. And that is the base that will overlook the entire island. My idea here was to make it simple because I don't have a lot of resources, but also make it pleasing to the eye. If some random passerby was looking at it, they would say, oh, okay, that's a pretty good house, you know? And that's my goal here. On the beginning of day 48, I started off by chopping down on those stinky little zombie pigmen. Then I sat there for a few minutes just trading with the piglin because I really need iron at this point. Going back to my main base, cooking up some iron that I collected from trading with the piglin, and believe it or not, I traded with my toolsmith once again. As I mentioned, I really want to get better tools, and the iron that I was using made him increase just a little bit more. When I finally did get that improvement, I was able to acquire a iron axe with efficiency on it. And let me tell you, it is night and day. The difference between a stone axe and an iron axe with efficiency on it, oh, Chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. Makes you want to kick a fat kid at Kmart. Please don't actually do it. But you understand what I'm feeling, you know? That's just to get my message across. On day 49 and 50, I spent it on the house. I was just laying the foundation and started placing a few walls just to get a basic idea of what kind of shape I want. Most of the time when I start a build, I have an idea in mind of what I actually want, but sometimes things change and last minute I try to go for a different idea. And on the rest of day 50, since I was kind of got bored of working on the house, I just spent it trading with more villagers. And let me tell you, these axes are just OP. Really good investment. When I finally got my main toolsmith to expert, I've had the worst trade ever. A diamond shovel. What? I'm curious. Who in their right mind says, yeah, I'll take a diamond shovel. Me, right here. Like, what? Like, how dumb do you... Anyways, I started building the house again. Didn't really finish it. It was kind of one of those projects where I would go back to it, do something else, go back to the house, do something else. And on day 52, I chopped down a bunch of trees, and then I went to the Nether, but just for a little bit. Day 53, I started off by converting the gravel into dirt, going all the way to the top, and I got a pretty nice view of my entire island. You can see the unfinished house there. After that, I looked through my chest, made sure I had enough materials for a bed, because I really want to populate more villagers in that little bunker I built for them. And after that, I once again went to the Nether, because the Nether is super important for Skyblock, as I mentioned before.
Another one.
And here, I got one of my coolest items yet.
More gravel, that's good. Another, what the fudge? What is happening? Bro, I need iron. I need another smithing table.
I don't really keep up with the lore of Minecraft, but apparently you can now have ghasts in the overworld that can be your pets, basically, that's a pretty cool idea. So I was able to get 2 of those, and in the future I'm hoping to do something cool with those. We'll see. I started off day 55 by chopping down some watermelons and then starting the roof of my house. I was so close to finishing up on day 55, but unfortunately the sun went down, and I'm scared of the dark, so I picked the pace back up early on day 56 and decided to finish what I left for the day. Let me know in the comments what you think of this roof style. I had a little hiccup in one part of the roof, but after fixing that, I think it turned out pretty decent. Nothing special yet because it has no decoration or nothing, but there's always time for that in the future. I mean, wow, just look at it. After that was said and done, it was now time for me to head into the Nether for some more trading. This time when I got out, I really needed to get myself another type of villager. And that, of course, is the Librarian. Not only do they have cool trades in the form of books with enchantments, but what I'm really going after is glass. For the house, I need glass, and for some of the librarians, they have a chance of selling you that glass at a low price. So no brainer, since I can't really waste the sand that I got from the other island I broke, it would be really smart for me to build a lectern and make myself a librarian. After he was all set up, one of the trades that I was actually able to complete with him was selling paper for emeralds. For that, I would need to build myself a sugarcane farm. That gave me an excuse to break the crappy one by my cobblestone generator and move it near the farm that I had by the other villagers. And here I came back from the Nether empty-handed, without any iron, so I thought, why don't I just attack the villagers to get an iron golem to spawn and just get that guy for iron.
There's no iron golem?
But unfortunately, it didn't work. On day 60, I decided to build the biggest tower known to man. I was getting a ton of gravel from the trades I was making with the piglin. Even though I was really going for iron right now the most, I wasn't complaining. Dirt is very essential for what I'm trying to do in the future. In the meantime, however, it was time to chop some more logs because I haven't done that in a minute, and I really need to trade once again with the villagers. But from then on day 61, I created another platform that I can build on. And this one here is going to be very important in the future. Day 62, I start off with replanting the trees that I chopped down the day before, and trading once again with the villagers. While I waited for him to replenish his stocks, I spent the time placing a wooden perimeter around the new platform that I had created. And when I finally got back, he was a master, and I finally got one of the best pickaxes.
Yes! Let's freaking go.
Diamond pickaxe is peak. The only issue with this one is that it doesn't have efficiency on it. But because I now have a librarian, I can hopefully get one that can sell me efficiency, build an anvil, and just apply it on that pickaxe, and we're golden. As I was talking there, you saw me build a giant pile of dirt. What I really want to do there is I sectioned off that platform for animals to spawn, and that is why I saved a small green pile of dirt in the center of the island, so that I can trickle it down through other pieces of dirt and wait for the grass to transfer over into the big pile. By doing so, there's a chance that cows, pigs, sheep, chickens, any animal can spawn in that green grass area.
Okay, if I do not get iron from this, I'm literally, I don't even know what I'm gonna do, but I'm... Let's go. Let's freaking go. Come on, don't be greedy. Give me one more iron.
Sadly, this piglin was extra greedy, and I didn't get any more iron.
Whatever.
By the time I got out of the Nether on day 65, it was night. I started day 66 off by gathering more sugarcane in the hopes of trading it with the villager, but really I wanted to go back to the Nether to get a little bit more iron. But before I did that, I placed a ghast under some water in the hopes of making him revive. And then I'll have myself a pet.
Let's go. I didn't even notice. Hell yeah, finally, bro. Greedy ass freaking gremlin.
I'm sure that comment hurt his feelings, but at this point, I don't really care. You are a greedy gremlin. I need my iron. Okay, take a deep breath, everybody, with me. Let's continue.
Oh, no way. Let's go. My man.
I think I found my new favorite animal in the game. Did you see how he flew up? To end off day 67, I just chopped down every tree on the island and replanted them once again. And the reason I needed all the iron was to make myself an armor smith, which I was finally able to create. So day 68 was just spent trapping myself another villager, putting him in one of the compartments, and making him my main armor smith. But remember kids, this is all voluntary. He consented to this. None of this was forced. He signed an agreement, so we're chill. This is all good.
I'll be honest, I do not trust myself, so I'm gonna have to build fences.
And so build fences is what I did. I chopped down every birch tree because I thought that would give it a nice accent. I was using oak logs for the perimeter, and birch would be a nice little contrast to that. And at the end of day 68, the dirt pile was now growing grass on it, so I could start shaving off the edges and wait until it fully grows in. On day 69, I expanded the bunker for the villagers. I then worked on my farming skills once again, and finally went around most of the island and added birch fences for the perimeter. What I couldn't finish on day 69, I finished on day 70. And that is when I noticed the ghast was pretty much fully grown, and I really wanted to catch him. So I went to my mob spawner that I didn't use in a while, and tried to gather some more string for a fishing pole.
A cat. Yo. Come here.
Not only would I be able to catch some fish with this, but catching the ghast to lasso it and put a saddle on him.
Oh, come here.
Saw the cat, I'm gonna tame him.
What the frick is this cat?
The ghast really liked hanging out down there, but I think as a byproduct, as soon as I placed the ghast, golems seemed to never stop spawning. I think the villagers would see him once in a while fly over their bunker, get so terrified that they needed to call reinforcements, which was actually good for me because I needed the iron. So it's a win-win. I get a cool pet, villagers are scared, I get iron, bueno.
I can make it. I'm not gonna make it. I'm not gonna make it.
Kobe!
And finally on day 72, I was able to catch the ghast and ride him. Big pause on that one.
Okay, this is sick. Here, kitty.
Nope.
Oh, I need more.
I was able to catch some fish and tried feeding it to the cat, but he wouldn't take it. So I just kept trading with my villagers in the hopes of getting that glass. I still haven't got that yet. And if you're wondering how I built the saddle, because that requires glass, I smelted one of the pieces of sand that I got from the island. My bad. Said I shouldn't waste it, but I did. But it's for a good cause. I really needed it.
Hey, let's go. You guard the center.
And with that fish, I got myself a cat. He is now the guardian of the center. I then started building a platform for a storage system that I needed. For that, I mined some cobblestone, filled out the center, and then used the same technique of oak perimeter and birch fence to make it look nice. Now it was time to build the actual storage unit. And for this, I want to try a different shape that I never really go for. It's going to be in a T shape with a dome type of roof. You might not understand what I mean, but you'll see it once I build it. So I laid a quick foundation of the storage building itself, and then I went on trading with the villagers to get myself some armor, tools, and stuff like that. What I really want though is glass. I really need that glass. I can't stress it enough. Glass makes a building. If you do not put glass window panes in your Minecraft building, you can't even call that a house. It's just incomplete. It's like a beyond house. It's not a real house, you know what I mean? So yeah, we need that. We need it bad. After most of the trading was complete, it was now time to move on to the house, but I didn't really have a true idea in sight. Because as I said before, when I start building a house, I have a basic idea of what I want, but I experiment throughout it to see what actually works better. That's just the way it works for me, and I'm usually pretty happy with how things turn out. Unfortunately though, this process, it does bring on a lot of mistakes, kind of needless mistakes. For example, not raising the roof high enough. You always got to break it down, build a new one. I put up a birch layer. I really didn't like it, so I had to take it down, and that just wastes time. And when you're doing a 100-day challenge on Skyblock, time is one of the most essential resources you kind of can't lose. But then again, I am a dingus, so regardless, I'm gonna lose time. And on the end of day 78, I was able to get some animals to spawn on the dirt platform I created.
Let's go.
You might want to turn your eyes away for this, but I fed the animals and then took care of business. Something tells me we're gonna have an orphanage soon.
There you go.
Don't worry, they'll be well taken care of and in a happy home. Anyways, I continued working on the storage, but I made a mistake here once again, and I'm gonna change out the roof anyway. It's not gonna be birch. But this is the dome style I was talking about. It's a nice little U shape. Tell me what you think. On day 80, I started off by once again farming, but this time I expanded on my sugarcane farm because I'm trying to really upgrade the Librarian, and trading paper for emeralds is the way to go. I also try to fill out more trades with him, such as buying lanterns from him, because I know that this will make him upgrade faster and finally get me the glass trade that I've been looking for.
Hey, let's go.
And finally, after wasting a bunch of sugarcane, making a bunch of paper and trading it for emeralds, I was able to get that long-awaited glass. Which means that now it'll seem like my house actually has life in it. This also gave me an opportunity to start adding decorations, such as taking oak leaves, putting them around the perimeter, and using birch trapdoors as window shutters. I use this in pretty much all of my builds because I just love how it looks. After a lot of decorating was done on not only my house but also the storage unit, I killed off a golem and then traded with the villager to get a bunch of glass because this is what I really needed it for. I wanted to make a glass dome roof for the storage unit. This will look nice. I'm hoping that it'll look nice at least. And since the Librarian was one of my main traders, I once again expanded my sugar farm, but this time I went to the animal patch and decided to add a perimeter of sugarcane there. Not only will this expand my farm, but also make it more vibrant for the animals. I started day 84 off by adding some slabs at the bottom of my main base, just to cover up some of the oak leaves, and then I chopped down some more birch, went to trade with the villagers, and I wanted to really finish the glass dome. Even though I had a Librarian that sold me glass, it was still pretty expensive because every time I would trade with the villagers, they would run out, I'd only have a limited amount of emeralds, and I wouldn't be able to trade for at least half a day and sometimes a full day. So it was just a waiting game at this point. On day 86, I decided that I needed another platform. Now that I was getting materials left and right, I was never really low on cobblestone. Wood was kind of the only thing that was iffy, but I decided to build another platform for a farm for the animals. It took me no time, made it pretty quick, but then after that I spotted a wandering trader on top of my mob spawner. So I looked for my ghast, lassoed him with my fishing pole, and went up to see what kind of trades he got.
Acacia, dark oak.
I went down and went to sleep to think about what I really wanted to get from him. But I pulled a kind of a dumb move. I traded with the villagers, broke down the birch roof I was talking about, but I did not bring enough emeralds. I was able to get some saplings, but it wasn't enough to make a full tree, and I never seen that villager again. And most of it was my ghast's fault because he kept going under the stupid island and I wasn't able to fish him out from under there. My fishing pole wasn't able to reach him, but even if it did, all I would do is just bonk his head on the island. I just had to sit there, wait for him to fly up until he was above the island, and then I could lasso him. But that is easier said than done. I had to wait a long time for that to happen. One good thing is that my Nether trip was pretty useful. I got a bunch of gravel, made myself a bunch of dirt. For the rest of day 89 and pretty much all of 90, except for the last part, I just spent it chopping wood. These villagers were really making a hole in my wood pile. Pause. But then I thought, why not make myself another villager in the form of a farmer? I wasn't really sure what I needed him for, but I have the resources, so why not? And it was early on day 91 that the ghast finally emerged from underneath the island, and I was able to ride him to the top of the mob spawner. No. Damn it. The wandering villager was not there. He had some pretty good trades. What I did was pretty dumb. I should have grabbed more emeralds, but you live and you learn, and I'll know better for next time. For now, the platform that I created earlier for the farm, I thought, let's just build a house there for now. Kind of ease my pain from the wandering villager. But then, arguably an even worse tragedy occurred.
Wait. No.
Why? Why is this happening? On day 91 of all times, my best villager, the one who had the iron axe with efficiency on it, my prized possession, my homie, and he's gone. Nothing I can do about it but make myself a new villager. RIP in the chat. I start off day 93 by taking some of my frustration out on an iron golem. That's when the ghast flew by and really wanted to be part of it. Thankfully, I held off and we continued on. That is when I was able to get a really good trade with my new toolsmith.
Give me an axe. Mamacita.
That's right, a diamond axe. Even though it's diamond, it's still not as good as the iron one because it has no efficiency. All I need now is an anvil and I'll actually be able to use that efficiency. After that, I did even more construction on my barn for the animals. And once again, even though this build is pretty simple, I tried to use a similar roof as I did for the storage unit. This really gives it that barn type of look. And on the right side of it, I started to add a silo looking thing. On day 95, I replenished my wood supply once again and moved back to the farm to add more decoration and give it a feel as if it's actually being in use and not just sitting there to look nice. Let's not talk about my main house. You can really see how it comes together and it fits really well with the storage system next to it. As a final touch, I decided to add a small little flag to the top of the silo. If you watched one of my previous videos before, you know that I did a similar thing to the castle build I did, and I thought that this would work perfect. So using some of the wool that I collected from earlier, I dyed it red and added it to the top. And by the time that was done, I killed enough golems to make myself an anvil and apply the efficiency. So I put on all my tools right away, and instantly everything became so much easier. Mining cobble is still similar because I still have to wait for the lava to hit the water, and that takes time, but chopping wood was infinitely better. I started day 97 off by gathering a bunch of wheat and making a bunch of hay bales to store in my silo. The barn building itself is where I wanted all my cows to be, and so they don't go hungry, hay is the best thing they need.
I can make it.
Another wandering villager spawned on my mob spawner once again, but this time the trades were not as good and he had nothing I needed. The only good thing from this was, somehow his llamas died. I don't know how that happened, but I was able to get myself a lasso. This way my ghast will not fly away wherever he wants, and I'll be able to fly around on him whenever I need to. As day 98 finished, I made my storage unit look a lot nicer. I used item frames and placed them on chests and filled out a lot of empty areas so that it's actually useful. All of day 99 was spent in the storage room, figuring out where items need to be placed, which needed to be closer to the door for easier access, and just in general, filling everything out. I can't really build redstone machines, so it's not going to be anything crazy, but overall I'm pretty happy with this storage unit. And finally, we did it. We hit day 100. I started off with the fields, collecting some wheat. This day I wanted to be simple. I didn't want to do anything too crazy, just the usual things I did around the island over the past 100 days. Farming was a key factor, so I went to the barn, took care of the cows, and made sure that everything looked nice. And finally, after managing my inventory, I lassoed my ghast one last time and wanted to show you guys the island.
Let's go. And look around at what we made. Dang. That's pretty sick. Nice little farm down here. Little silo looking spot. Storage system. Villager area. And of course the house that I never lived in. Honestly, pretty amazing what we accomplished. Dang, on day 100. Would you look at that?
This was also the perfect time to name my guest.
What do we name him? Let's do Bartholomew. Come here, Bartholomew. There you go.
And one final time, I went to the Nether to spend some time before the sunset.
And we made it in time for the sunset.
I cleaned up my inventory and it was time to see the final sunset. If you watched this video all the way to the end, I want to thank you so much for that. If you enjoyed it, please drop a like, subscribe, and for now, have a good one.